Hey Emma. Good morning, everyone. I don't know if anyone's even going to be up watching this so early. I mean, it's not super early here, but for a lot of people, it probably will be, depending on the time when you're in. But as you can tell from the title of the video, I got some trees I'm going to cut down this morning, and I thought I would make this one a little interesting by streaming it live. I know that's a little bit, I guess you could say, kind of taking like everyone gets to watch to see if something goes wrong or not. So if something goes wrong, I can't edit this one out. You're gonna be watching this. Might make it a little more interesting. Not that I've had to edit anything out that's gone wrong on any of the other tree cutting videos so far that I've recorded, but my luck, the first one will be a live one. So this morning, I'm gonna be cutting down some of these trees up here. I've been working on, I just wanted to give everyone also kind of a little bit of a preview here of what I've been working on. I thought I would make it a little interesting. I'm gonna hit to turn the camera around so you can see where I'm actually standing. There's our house. And like Grizz just asked, where are the power lines? They are way over there on the other side of the house. Yeah, they are magnets. I've actually torn the lines right off the pole in my house at one point with a tree. I did that on a video, but actually the camera wasn't pointing in the right direction, so it didn't capture it. So I have at least a half a dozen tree cutting videos that I've recorded, and I still have to edit. And my goal with cutting trees this year is, you can see this white birch right here that's leaning towards the house. It's hard to see, but there's a branch right there, which it's not the healthiest tree. That tree's hard right over the roof of this house, right on this hill, right over our propane tank. That tree's going to come down with a boom lift. I'm going to rent a boom lift to take that one down. But first I want to get all the other trees around it down first, like this beech tree, which is pretty much standing straight up and down for the most part. It's got a little bit of a lean here to the left, so it's not too bad. You have the opportunity to recapture it on video today. Don't blow it. Yeah, I don't want to do that live. Although I'd need a pretty big tree from where I'm standing to hit those power lines. I also learned my lesson. If I cut trees down near the power lines, I'll call the power company and they'll actually come out and take the lines down for me. And they do it for free around here, which is pretty cool. Say good morning.
Good morning.
So the trees that I'm going to cut this morning, nothing too crazy. I have these beech trees here. There's two, one on that side, one on that side. That bigger one in the middle, that one's going to get to live for today. So I'm going to leave that one standing for now. I'm working on trying to bring more sun in. So you can see the sun's trying to peek through the clouds, or peek through the trees right up here. And it can't. And I want it to be able to get to the house, because we've had a history of mold issues in this house, and I want to help prevent that by bringing in more fresh air and sun. I might potentially take down one or two of these oak trees over here. Those are leaning a little bit. I'm probably going to save those for another day, but there's a beech tree that's right next to that oak that I'll take that one down this morning. So I got at least 3 trees. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. So those 3. And the reason I'm wanting to take a few down this morning is we're taking a trip to the transfer station, the dump this morning. It doesn't look like much from here, but that's a 14-foot, 14,000-pound dump trailer hooked up to my diesel truck. And that brush pile has probably got at least another 2 or 3 loads in it to go to the transfer station. And I don't want to run out of brush, because our transfer station's only open a few days a week, and I want to make use of that as much as I can today. So I'm going to take these as well, because they're going to have to come down anyway, and I want to bring these down so I have some extra brush to bring to the dump. And we already have some other brush up here that needs to be dragged out. As you can see, I've been cutting a lot of trees up here. There's a bunch of stumps up here, and I have all of these recorded on video, including the stump that I'm standing right next to. But you can see there's quite a few. It's hard to see with this branch in the way, all the brush here, but there's a bunch of stumps out here that I've cut, quite a few trees. And this is because I want to get these big leaners out of here. The big one is this one here, this oak, which I'm actually standing about 10 feet from, so it might look small. Actually, it even doesn't know, but it's pretty big. It goes way up there, and it leans pretty heavily. It's hard to tell, but it leans pretty heavily over the house over here, and I need to definitely take care of that one, because that one, it's hard to tell based on where the camera is, because the camera's sitting on a hill too, so it doesn't look like it's leaning as much, but that thing's leaning pretty nasty. And that one is going to be another one that I'm going to take from the top down with a boom lift, but I want to get all the trees around it down first. There's one right here that's got some foliage caught up in of that one, and that's this right here, which is really not that big a deal. It's mostly leaning in the direction of where I'm standing, so it will come this way, but the problem is, I don't know, it's kind of hard to see in the camera, but there's one of the branches from that oak is right here, and it's going to prevent that tree from coming this way. So what I'm going to do is hook a line to it when I cut that one down, which I'm not going to deal with this morning. So yeah, definitely, Grizz, this is going to be a pretty awesome mill log if I can get at least the trunk of it whole, which I'll try to leave the trunk of it whole and pull it over when I get the canopy cut off of it. If you're going to bring it down with a boom, how long will the logs be? I'm hoping to get a couple 12-foot logs out of it. The rest of it up top's pretty much all going to be firewood. So, hey, good morning, Kim. How's it going?
I almost looked like he was coming over, but he went back over towards the house.
So yeah, you can see how pretty close the house is.
I'm gonna get a spring jacket. It's a little chilly.
So it's a good morning out here to be working outside. It's nice and cool. It's probably about 60 degrees out, which these mornings lately have been like 80 degrees, even 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't think you'll be able to lower a 12-foot log with the boom. No, it's a boom lift, a lift. So I'll be up in the lift. I'm not going to be using a crane. But my plan is, once I get the canopy cut out of the tree, because the canopy is also leaning towards the house, and with all the weight of the branches and all the foliage leaning towards the house, that's what's making me nervous. I have the weight of the log, and that's enough right there, the weight of the trunk of this tree, which gives you some perspective of how big the tree is. I can stand it. The diameter of the base of the tree at the bottom is probably 3 feet. So it's a pretty massive red oak tree, and I definitely don't want to screw this one up, because there's the tree, there's my propane tank, and there's my house, and that tree weighs enough that that tree will take out that corner of the house if it falls. Like, literally will crush that corner of the house. If I were to guess, that probably weighs 20,000 pounds. So I'm not going to be taking this tree down this morning, Kim. This is not something I'm going to tackle on a live stream, that's for sure. But this one's going to be coming down with a lift. I'm going to get a full-wheel drive lift in. I'm going to park it probably right out back. I'm going to get a 70-foot lift and park it right back here and boom the lift up. I'm going to take that white birch out first, and I'm going to come up and take the foliage out of this oak tree down to about 25 feet high, and then I'm going to tie a guide rope on it while I'm up there, and then I'm going to come down. I'm going to have my skid steer down there, and I'm going to pull it in that direction. I'm going to cut it and pull it out. And that's my plan. I might even rig the base of the tree up to another tree over here, off in the distance, just to keep the butt of the tree and the log from falling down the hill after it. So a lot of thought going into it. It's not something I'm gonna take lightly, and it's not something I'm gonna get into without really thinking about every possibility, that everything that could possibly happen. I plan on taking small pieces as I come down. I've seen enough things happen where to take too much at once when you're up in a lift, and things get out of control. So I am literally going to cut off like probably 4 to 8 foot sections of branches as I come down, and then the sections are going to get smaller as the wood gets bigger, and push those sections off, get all that stuff away. Like I said, hook a guideline up to it. I could potentially pull it in this direction if I leave a couple high enough stumps here, which I'll probably do. So I'll leave some high stumps down here. When I cut these trees out, I'm going to leave those stumps high, so when the log falls, those stumps will catch it and prevent it from rolling down into the propane tank also. So a lot of different little things to think about as I prepare to cut this one down. But this morning my goal is, like I said, just to cut these few birch trees out. Again, it's going to be that one, the one on the other side of that tree, not this one that's closest to us. And then there's one that's leaning in this one right here, which that's an oak, and that's a smaller beech tree that's kind of growing off the same stump. And that one will, they should all fall kind of up the hill in this direction. Try to move the camera down here so you can get a nice entertaining view of the carnage. But let's see. So, hi Emma. So those are the first couple trees. Those should go up in this direction, so you probably won't see the top of the tree come down, but you should see the whole thing go where it needs to. And then the same thing over there. Well, you can get Miss Pam to help. Ah, nice. So yeah, I'm gonna go get set up. I got my chaps already on. Got my helmet, hearing protection, and face shield. And I got my Steel 066 100cc big bore chainsaw ready to go.
Yeah.
Now we just got to get her done, right? Should I let Emma cut him down? Probably not, right? You can help me collect the brush after when I'm done, right?
You can get me one of the little chainsaws we saw at the lumber barn, maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting getting one of those electric chainsaws to start teaching the kids too. Safety first, 100%. Yep, I haven't always been good at that, but as I get older and wiser, I get smarter and safer. Realize I'm not invincible. But yeah, I got all the protection I need: hearing, helmet, face shield, chaps, gloves. And when I go to cut the trees, I make sure I have a good escape route. So if something doesn't go quite right, I have somewhere to go when I cut the tree down. So you'll see me when I go over there. I'll look around the tree to make sure I don't have anything to trip over. So if I have to take off, I can. But these trees are, the biggest one that I'm about to cut down is less than a foot in diameter. They're very small. They're not very big trees. So I picked some good ones for a live stream. All right, don't touch that because it's not sitting well. So you're gonna knock the whole thing right over, okay?
Okay.
You also don't want to be around now because I'm gonna go cut these trees down.
I'll be down there.
All right. Go stand down by the chicken coop. You can watch from a distance.
I'll be sitting in the chairs.
There you go. Pull up a front chair, row seat, and she knocked the camera over. Let's try that again. Careful. Yeah, an accident-prone 9-year-old running a chainsaw, probably not a good idea. All right, so those two are the first two I'm probably gonna do. Let's see. I'm gonna go back and forth. I'm gonna take this one, then that one, and then come back and take the other one. We have Ellie chainsaw. It works great. Tuck your bootlaces in so they don't hang up on the twig if you need to run. Pant legs go down pretty far. They're covering my bootlaces pretty well, and I actually usually triple knot my bootlaces so there's not much hanging off when I'm done. So they're definitely not hanging loose, and my chaps are all on tight. So yeah, I've made enough, definitely made some mistakes and broke some stuff and hurt myself enough. No, I'm just gonna wear my boots. Then your pant legs are too long for logging. Well, they're not touching the ground, that's for sure. I lost some weight, so my pants are getting too big. All right, so I'm gonna start cutting. I'm gonna get these down, and you know the number for 911, right? Yeah. Best part of waking up is cutting down some trees. From what I recall, they are pretty good little machines. Oh, I missed. I'm going to turn the camera around here. I'm dyslexic. It's 119. 191? What? Yeah, that must be it. Falling downhill, run or bleed. Morning, Chris. Have you ever heard of Struck mini bulldozers made in Wisconsin? Never heard of it. Hey, Bones Yard, how's it going? Let's see. Flipping through the chat here for a second. You can look at them as I look through the chat. Thinking of ordering it with just a mechanical blade on it. Huh. All right. So there's number 1, number 2. It's still sitting on the stump over there. Number 3. So I cut and limbed each one except for that last one I still have to do. But I kind of all instead of just drop a bunch and then trying to limb them after, because it's a little bit hard to figure out where the limbs are once you have like 6 trees piled on top of each other. Now that I have them all limbed, I can easily send the minions out here and have them grab all the brush out of here. So then I can come back through and throw chains on the logs and use my skid steer and skid them out of here. So I got probably about 100 feet of chain. I just link them all together, hook them up onto these logs. I could use my winch, but it's just as easy to, rather than pulling the winch out and hooking it all up, just use my skid steer. I can't get up this hill because this hill's a little bit steep for the skid steer. If I try to come up forward with the skid steer, I will most likely tip backwards. And if I try to come up backwards, I'm gonna run into even the low stumps. Even if I cut these stumps all to the ground, if I run into it the wrong way with the tracks on my skid steer, I'll throw a track off. And trying to put a track back on a skid steer while you're stuck on a hill is not something I want to try. I've already had to do it in mud and do it in the middle of the woods, and that's not any fun. So I'll just use what I have. And so anyway, yeah, so that first one, they all went smooth as I figured they would. They were nothing too hairy. They all had a little bit of a lean to them, which was great. This last one I thought I might need to wedge it, but it went fairly smoothly. My back cut was a little wonky on it, but it still worked out fine. It would have been better if I had more of a flat back cut on it. I'm not sure how maybe because I was standing on the hill I misjudged my angle, but this one went pretty smooth. Got about a third of the way into the stump with the notch, standard notch, and left myself about an inch of hinge, and that's when it started going over. If I got much lower than that and needed to do anything, that's when I would start just knocking a wedge in here and force it down, but figured it was going to go down no problem. It actually started moving before that. Jumped off the hinge nicely, so now I just gotta cut it up into a few sections and drag them out. And number 2, that one went pretty well. I could have lined up the back cut to the notch in the front a little bit better. I was a little high on one side, but no biggie. Went the right direction. I tried to line my hinge a little bit better, but being on the hill, I try to look at them before I cut, but still not bad. You can see these two, actually you can see these two back cuts kind of got cut same angle. just standing on this hill, I think. But decent hinge. Hinge broke off when it needed to, when the notch closed up. Nice smooth tear. And then again, this one. I don't usually back cut with that much of an angle on it. I like to cut them straight in. And I also like to try to line up the angle of my back cut with the angle of the notch in the front when I'm just kind of trying to drop it in one single direction, but it went smoothly. And you probably noticed when I was going to cut, just before I started to notch it, yeah, that back cut was high. Yeah, it was a little too high on this side, but that's fine. Sometimes back cutting a little bit high intentionally isn't a bad thing, especially actually on a hill is not bad, or a tree with a little bit of a lean, because from what I've read and from what I've watched is by leaving your back cut a little bit high, when that hinge, when the hinge breaks off a little low like that, it keeps the tree stuck in here. If you cut the notch too, or the back too low, it can slide off the back. So I usually favor on the high side if I can, but usually not that high, usually maybe like an inch or so. But otherwise, you know, I'm no arborist or logger. Also, I believe in that if you're coming in the wrong, you're not coming in high enough or low enough or whatever, you're better off starting and coming back out and going back in. That's why I only go in, you know, a couple inches before I stop and I look to see where my cut is. And I did kind of try to correct it. As you can see, this here is a little bit lower than that, or higher, I should say. So I tried to correct it a little bit after my first cut, but then I just went for it on the next one. But it landed exactly where I wanted to. I don't know if you noticed right before I cut it, but I stopped and I was looking up in this direction, and I was looking at these stumps because I wanted to try to avoid the tree hitting these stumps, because if it does, it'll cause the whole back to kick off, ripping it off the hinge, potentially sending the tree back a bit, which I don't want, or sending it side to side. And if I wasn't far enough away, it could go too close to me where I really don't want it. Although I have a pretty good, before I did anything, I made sure if I needed to go downhill, I could without any obstructions. I pushed that stick out of the way, and I was able to go this way if I needed to. So it only takes a minute. Clean up your area, and you got plenty of space to get out of there if you need to. I've learned quite a bit over the years, but like I said, I'm no expert. But I wanted it to land right in between these notches, not notches, stumps. I didn't want it to land on a stump, like I said, so this way it didn't kick off in a direction that I didn't want it to go, which worked out pretty well. You could see the tree hit this stump, where that hit that stump right there a little bit, which is not too big a deal. It dropped a little bit to the left of the stump off of here, but otherwise it went perfectly fine. And that's exactly where I wanted it to go. I didn't want it to hit that stump, I didn't want it to hit that stump, and I just wanted it to make it to the ground without bouncing. So those 3 are down this morning. Gotta go limb up this last tree, bring that trailer full of brush to the dump, bring a couple more trailers, and then get the minions up here to create me a new pile. So this way, this coming weekend when they open again, because they're only open Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, get myself a new pile. So this way, Saturday and Sunday, I have more brush to bring over there. It's a lot easier to pull it out of here than it is to burn it or chip it, and it's a lot cheaper. So yeah, that is, oh, that's that. So I'd say that went about as good as it can for of course when, and of course this one I didn't want to do that. But yeah, I'm still standing, not hurt, everyone's safe, nothing's damaged. 2 of the 3 of the trees are already limbed. Gotta limb one more up. We're 48 minutes into the live stream, and I say I did all right. So give us a thumbs up if you like this. I hope you do. We got 6 people watching. I appreciate you guys joining this morning. It's pretty early, but I'm gonna get off here now. I just wanted to jump on and do this stream. Hi, Stacy. Hi. She's over there yelling at the kids. So yeah, I'm gonna get my trailer down to the transfer station, get that emptied, get all this brush picked up out of here, and stay tuned for some cutting videos, because I have several that I recorded of all these other ones that all these other stumps that you see sitting around. And I know I've had I had a question on, I think, Instagram. Somebody asked me, why am I leaving the stump so high? There's a couple of reasons. One, I don't really want to have to bend way over to make my cuts. Two, I am thinking about hooking chains up to them and pulling them with my skid steer and some pulleys, using some mechanical advantage, and see if I can pull the stumps out. By having their stumps high, you have more leverage, which gives you more pulling power, the ability to pull the stumps out. I know it seems crazy to think I'll be able to pull a stump over and out of here, but most of the land around here, most of the terrain underneath the topsoil is all sand. So trees blow down around here pretty easily because the ground underneath is pretty soft. So being able to pull the stumps over with a high stump is actually kind of nice. So I'm leaving the stumps a little. The other thought that I had is, you know, aside from not wanting to bend way over, but 2 or 3, when I cut some of these trees down, if they want to roll down the hill, these stumps will kind of act like a stop, and the logs won't roll towards. And I eventually will, if I don't pull them out, I definitely eventually will come down back in through here and cut them right low to the ground. And I'm not wasting any wood. I have, I don't know if you can see, let me turn the camera around. Now you can't really see, but there are piles of logs here. I got 2 huge more piles in the woods down there. I got a couple of large piles of logs here. And then, probably hard to see off in the distance, in between behind my kiln, that pile stands about 15 feet high and goes back about another 20 feet of logs. So I don't have any shortage of sawmill logs, so I'm definitely not wasting any wood, leaving the stump, you know, an extra foot or 2 high. And we burn firewood. We have 3 wood stoves in our house. So once I cut those stumps off, if I do that instead of pulling them out, I'll just have more firewood. So nothing's going to go to waste by doing that either. If I was cutting professionally for someone else or cutting for a sawmill or something, maybe I wouldn't do that, but I'm not doing that. I'm not a professional. I'm just out here learning, doing my own thing, a little DIY tree cutting. If I felt like this was going to be dangerous to the point where I was going to hurt myself or damage something, I wouldn't be doing this myself. I have consulted friends that are very experienced and professional tree services, arborist, and forestry businesses that I'm good friends with. So I actually had a friend who is coming over to look at these 2 leaners. I think I have a pretty good idea of how I'm going to handle it. I'm just going to, like I said, use that boom lift and go out there. I've worked with him on jobs, watching him do the same thing. So he's just going to come over and verify that my thought process is right, but I think I'm going to be good there. So I will do a video. So again, smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't. I'm going to jump off now, go finish my coffee, and get rid of some of this brush. And then we're going to move on to some sawmill stuff later. So I got lots more videos coming out soon. I'm going to try to put out every week or 2 here. So stay tuned. I'll try to do some lives in between. Hope you all have a good day, good morning. And we'll see you guys all in the next video. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay cool. We'll see you soon.